that's how we become more productive. We don't just say, hey, here's new tools, or you guys go work harder. It's how can I remove your pain?
Hi, this is Tricia Ratliff. Welcome to my Innovation Podcast. Good morning. I am here today with Bryan FInster from Defense Unicorns, and we are going to be talking about when to use or not use frameworks. Bryan, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're passionate about?
Yeah, I've been a software developer for nearly 30 years now. I tell people all the time that I've mostly done that incorrectly. I had to learn quite a few things to learn how to do it with less pain. And, the thing I'm really passionate about is how can we do this work with less pain, and how can we deliver better value? I'm all about solving problems. I honestly could care really not much about the technology used as long as it's effective at solving those problems.
That's exactly why I invited you here today, Bryan. Whatever we talk about, you always provide a lot of value. Ultimately, you help other people solve problems.
I try.
Yeah. I know a lot of folks ask, how do I apply Agile or DevOps methods to get more productivity out of my organization?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not a matter of a method, is it? It's really a matter of looking into what their individual problems are. So,
Well, that's really the problem that we have in the broader industry is everybody starts with the solutions instead of what the problems are that are in front of them. And I see this on everything. It's like, oh, well, we need Scrum for this infrastructure team. Well, I mean, do you? Or we need to measure the DORA metrics. Why? If you don't understand what the actual problem is, why are you applying solutions? Developers do this too. They jump straight into coding on things because of time pressures without even understanding the problem they're trying to solve. I mean, it's endemic at every level of the organization, of the entire industry.
So if we were to avoid going down that path, but instead begin with the real question that we get asked, so leaders often ask, how can I get more out of the organization without burning people out, because they need to keep outstanding people, and do it with our limited budgets or what we have, or with less than we had last year? Do you have any thoughts about some patterns that you've seen?
Absolutely. I mean, step number one is you need to have the right thought process as a leader, right? I'm a realist. There are slackers in every organization, but most people aren't. Okay. Most people are actually trying to do a good job with the situation they're placed in and the information that they have. And so step number one is finding out where pain exists in that flow of delivering whatever it is we're trying to deliver. And that could be software, that could be rolling out new commercial software that we're not developing, that could be installing new infrastructure, whatever it is. The process for improving that is always exactly the same, which is find out what the actual process is, and then find out where there's handoffs and wait time and policies that make no sense that are getting in the way. I mean, where is the friction that's causing pain, that's slowing things down and decreasing our ability to deliver or to deliver with quality? The most effective, so I learned about value stream mapping pretty late. I mean, we're talking probably 2017 is the first time I'd seen value stream mapping done. No, I take that back. 2015 was the first time I heard about it. 2017 is the first time I'd done it. But when I started doing it with teams, it was the most effective tool I'd ever seen for uncovering pain. I mean, exposing that to the teams, not only just letting me know where the pain was, but the team suddenly knew where pain was that they felt, but they didn't know where it was. And it's just, it requires so little effort to get it done. You don't have to buy tools. All you have to do is bring people together and talk about what the process is and kind of deep dive on what the steps are and start pulling out, how long does it take to do something? How much time are we waiting for someone to start doing it? And how often are we having to do rework on each one of these steps? And it becomes really obvious what to fix pretty quickly.
So, Bryan, with so many value streams in IT organizations and potentially hundreds of people, and also 50 or 100 or maybe even hundreds of perceptions of problems.
Mhm.
Where might one begin? Where would a leader, an executive, anyone who's taking initiative and interested in running a value stream mapping or another activity to uncover challenges, any thoughts about some wise places to start?
Yeah, well, I mean, first, what's the easiest way to have an ineffective meeting, Trish?
If you're asking me,
Yeah.
invite all the wrong people and don't have a plan.
Yeah, just invite a bunch of people. I mean, the bigger a meeting is, less effective it is,
Oh,
right?
keep going.
But I've seen many people who focus value streams. Number one, they'll link a value stream to an entire product line or a very high level flow. And yes, that is a value stream, but there's value streams below that, right? That nest within it. And the most effective way I've found to do this is to bring together like individual teams and value stream map that team's process and then start linking those value streams together. Right? Is start small. If you start big, you'll get some stuff, but it's not going to be very actionable. If you start small, you can start getting immediate feedback on things that can help individual teams, and you start making small improvements along the way while you start linking those value streams together.
So I think of that as starting with the willing, wherever the vacuum is, wherever the interest is. What do you think of that? You don't have to agree with me, by the way. I love hearing
No,
different.
no, I totally agree. One thing I learned pretty quickly is if people don't want help, don't help them. Either they'll see other people being helped and decide that they want help, or they'll just let them fail, honestly, because you can't force people to accept help. They'll just fight you, and it's just honestly not worth the effort.
Yeah, it's a matter of really respecting people, that they're totally capable of making their own choices. And I've often repeated this quote that back in the 1990s, before I knew anything about Agile, this wise coach, Marshall Goldsmith, said to me, people only change what they want to change. So
Yes.
find out what that is and help them make it happen. And I got similar advice from another mentor years later with regard to leading volunteers. He was really good at bringing out the best in volunteers. And
Mhm.
he said, treat everybody like a volunteer because ultimately we all are.
Yeah.
We do things and we show up because we want to.
But
So
even the willing, you can't just solve problems for them, because if the solution doesn't work the first time, they'll just reject it and say, "Oh, that didn't work."
mm,
Right? Even with the willing, you have to present possible solutions, but hey, we need to work together to find out what solution works in our context of the problem, this particular problem that we are facing together. Right? This is one of the real struggles I have with the agile industrial complex is all of the cookie cutter frameworky solutions. This could be programming frameworks or ways of working frameworks, right? Is that frameworks are something somebody else put together to solve their problem. And if you have that exact problem, the framework might work for you, right? I'm a big advocate of just build your own solution for the problem that's in front of you using known good tools.
so if we put ourselves in the shoes of people who are new and you look out into the world or you do a Google search, there's just so much information out there.
I would say there's a lot of garbage.
Right. So if you were to kind of curate that and say, hey, here's some topics that are worth looking into.
Yeah.
It's not that you can't go wrong, but you're less likely to go wrong if you research X, Y, or Z, or look for someone with knowledge in whatever. Are any thoughts? Like what comes to mind for you?
Oh, sure. So number one, at the top level, just the things that we're trying to solve for, okay, is that we need faster feedback on what we're doing. We need to work in smaller steps to get faster feedback on what we're doing. The only time I've ever seen somebody completely design a car and release it was on The Simpsons, and the Homer failed and bankrupted the company. Right? It's if you're doing car product development, any product development, you're always looking for fast feedback, and you're trying to, come up with what it is we should actually build. And software, the only difference between that and software product development is it's so much cheaper with software. If you're doing something that's known, then feedback loops aren't really the most important thing. You don't need to go dive into the Agile manifesto and read all the Scrum stuff, right? It's just about removing friction. So if you're doing like rollouts of new hardware, rollouts of commercial software, focusing on reducing friction in that process is your goal. If you're doing product development, focusing on reducing friction in your process is that goal, because that reduces your costs and makes it easier for you to get faster feedback loops, right? And faster feedback loops means that we have fewer things that we're delivering that are wrong and spending less money doing it. And that's how we become more productive. We don't just say, hey, here's new tools, or you guys go work harder. It's how can I remove your pain is how we become more productive. How do we make it easier to be productive? As far as people to look at people who've done it. Go look for people who have real practical experience and see what they have to say, and also see how what they have to say aligns with, the context they use that in aligns with your context, right? I mean, it's harder work, but there's no silver bullets in this.
I agree with the statement you made earlier that I also believe that most people come to work in the morning to do a good job.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And the thing that hinders them isn't that they're lazy slackers. It's this organization that's built around them that's hindering them. They're systemic problems, right? I mean, just read Deming. It's true. The amount of suffering I've had to go through just to deliver software is just unconscionable. The amount of money being wasted on things like cab is insane. Right? If people actually went and ice stream mapped their process flow and actually looked at what causes things to be secure and compliant, suddenly they would shy away from consultants selling frameworks and figure out, why can't we do continuous delivery? Why can't we teach people how to, implement effective testing? Why aren't we investing in good tools to automate away a lot of the stuff that we're trying to capture manually at the end? They would save so much money.
Is there anything that you feel compelled to add?
A couple things. One, DevOps has become a massively overloaded word. I would encourage everybody to actually read the source material on it instead of thinking that it's a job somebody has or a tool. Go read the DevOps handbook, right? It's thick, but you'll get a lot of insight out of it. Go read continuous delivery and take that seriously. In fact, we've tried to simplify it. If you go to minimumcd.org, that's our attempt to jumpstart people so they don't have to learn all of the low-level stuff that we had to learn at the very beginning when we were learning continuous delivery. If you're a software developer, read Modern Software Engineering by Dave Farley. The level of, oh my God, I wish I had this when I was starting out is amazing in that book. It's just my favorite book. Everybody should be required to read it in college.
If you're a business leader, a product owner, or sales executive, or in another role.
Yeah, Sooner, Safer, Happier. That's where I was going next. If you read Sooner, Safer, Happier by Jonathan Smart, there's a lot of aha moments in that book for people in those roles.
Thank you, Bryan. Thank you for sharing. Thanks again for being here.
No, thanks for inviting me, Trish.
You're welcome, of course.